What's up, Ivy Leaguers? I know it's been a hot minute since you've heard from me. I'm not going to lie, I've been pretty sick recently. Let me get that straight. There we go. Been pretty sick recently. I know, no excuses, though. No excuses. Got a lot to talk about today. All right? A lot to talk about. First, let's dive in to how much fun I had at the Alabama-Tennessee game. It was awesome. I know y'all love the content from there. I used to be an Alabama native myself. Unfortunately, I'm not anymore. I love Alabama. That's my home state. Love Alabama. You can tell. But it was so great that we will be back there for October 24th, maybe? No, October 15th for Alabama, Oklahoma. Should be a show, big-time SEC championship implications and playoff implications, quite frankly. So that'll be a fun one to get down there in a couple of weeks. But next thing next. All right, let's talk about this past weekend that just happened. First off, it was a wild week for football. Quite a few great games going on, but if we look at the Alabama Crimson Tide, they had a tough one, and they about gave me a heart attack. I approached this game knowing, I want y'all to know that I live in South Carolina right now. And while South Carolina is mostly Clemson fans, there are quite a few Gamecock fans in here. And I was talking a lot of trash about Alabama going into this one. Now, I was also saying it was a trap game and we had to focus up, but I was also talking a lot of trash. And when South Carolina was leading that ball game with 2 minutes left, up 8 points, I really thought South Carolina was going to win. But then Alabama stepped up and Ty Simpson showed off who he really is, and our defense played incredible. And, Bama then goes down, scores a touchdown, gets the 2-point conversion, ties the game at 22. South Carolina starts driving, and then they fumble it in their own territory, and Alabama goes down, scores another touchdown, wins the game 29-22. Looks easy. Wasn't easy, about giving me a heart attack, quite frankly. But I think we need to analyze this game a little further than just what it is, because, let's be honest, this was a big game. So, when we look at it, when we look at it like this, look, South Carolina is not as bad of a team as their record shows. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a great coaching staff, in my opinion. Well, great might be a stretch, but they've got a good coaching staff, in my opinion. And they've got a lot of things to be happy about this game. Man, sorry, my phone won't stay up here, so I gotta hold it. All right, so they've got a lot of things to be happy about. But they also have to feel like they blew it, okay? You blew that game. Now, when I say they blew the game, it's not like they had the game won up 8 points, but you have the ball with 1:36 seconds left, driving against the Alabama defense, which is super tired, that you've worn out pretty much all game. So, in reality, they should have won. Now, of course, Bama's defense stepped up and stripped the ball and got a fumble recovery, but that doesn't make it any easier if you're a South Carolina fan or a South Carolina player, for that matter. But if this game showed me one thing, it showed me that Alabama can win a national championship. Because this Alabama team played horrible all game long. And most teams in the CFB would have quit. They would have said, we are done. We can't, nothing is working. We are going to lie down and die. Not this Alabama football team. This Alabama football team, they said, you know what? We got to keep working at it, keep working. Eventually something's going to break. And something broke. They found out that Jeremy Bernard was their Swiss Army knife, and they used him like it. Great play calling from Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb was in his bag. They had some great play calls on the 2-point conversion, really on everything. Those whole last 2 drives were some awesome play calls. So I think if you're Alabama, this game showed me that Alabama could win a national championship. Especially from a defensive standpoint. I think their defense looks great. I think their defense has the ability to keep them in ball games where their offense isn't playing good. So I think that's what makes them a national championship contender. Now, of course, that could all be taken away by LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, or Auburn. So you got to finish your season, win the SEC championship, go win the rest of your games. But they look good. But now let's look at some other big-time contenders. Look, I have said for a long time that Indiana is not the real deal. I'd like to apologize formally because they look good. They look really, really, really solid. And I think that Kurt Yeti, however you pronounce his last name, is a wonderful coach. If he can keep it up, I think he will go down as one of those coaches that we look at like, oh, this guy, if he had done this when he was younger, he is a, superstar coach. Now, here's my thing. I love the Indiana hype. I do. I think they're great. I think they have a possibility to win the Big Ten. But they still got to beat Ohio State. If they don't beat Ohio State, it all gets discredited. I don't care what they do after this, it gets discredited. Okay? You have to win the big ones. Look, the Big Ten is not a hard conference to play in. I'm sorry. I know that y'all are going to be like, oh, this is all SEC bias, all this crud. No. You should be able to easily win the Big Ten if you're in a team like Indiana. Not easily. I shouldn't say easily. You should be able to easily go undefeated against those small teams. But when you play Michigan, when you play Penn State, when you play Oregon, not even Michigan, I take Michigan away. When you play Oregon, when you play Ohio State, when you play Penn State, you got to win those games. That's what matters. So Indiana's going to be tough. I think Indiana, they're making the playoffs. It's hard for them not to make the playoffs. But it'll be really interesting to see how they play against Ohio State. Highlight that one, circle that one. That's the one you got to watch. Another team, other than Ohio State. Ohio State's good. They look solid. Another team I'd look out for in the playoff is Texas A&M. Undefeated currently. They look really, really, really good. So I would really watch out for them. Marcel Reed could win the Heisman, in my opinion. Their quarterback, he's great. Mike Elko, a great coach for them. Really fits their regime that they're looking for, their character build. So I really like Mike Elko there. I really like Texas A&M. I think my personal pick for the SEC championship right now is Texas A&M versus Alabama, and that'll be a very interesting game if we get there. That'll be a game that we have highlighted coverage of. Obviously, SEC championship. But what I want you to take away from this episode today is that, one, while these top four teams, we look at Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama, I want you to look at all these four teams and say, who do they play? Okay? Who do they play the rest of the season? Ohio State and Indiana play each other. Okay? Texas A&M and Alabama. Texas A&M still got to beat Texas. They still got a couple. Missouri this week. That could be a scary one. They've still got some scary games. They've got to watch out. And Alabama still has really tough games. So they have got to watch out. That is my message for these fan bases and these teams. Okay, if there's one thing I want you to take away is that we still have 5 weeks of the season left. Make it count. That's all for today, Ivy Leaguers. Until next time, this is Ivy Taylor, signing off.